Hey everyone, welcome to the 7th Ship It. So I'm George, the founder and CEO of Stakpak, and Noor, our DevRel engineer. And yeah, we're here to run this like 7th Ship It. And because of Black Hat and all the security stuff going on, we're going to take on some DevSecOps use cases. So yeah, let's wait for one more minute for people to join. And then we can get started immediately. Yeah, while I also figure out like how to share my screen again. Like I have to figure this out every single time. So I enabled showing comments on stage. So whenever you want to write something, just write it and Noor's going to read it out loud. Yeah, so if this is your first Ship It, what we do in the Ship It sessions is we take the Stakpak DevOps agent and do random DevOps stuff without preparation, without anything. Like, so we just prepare like a skeleton project, but we don't do the task before we go live. So that's the idea, is to test Stakpak live and show you what like LLM agents can do and cannot do in infrastructure or like in DevOps work. And yeah, so let me tell you more about this today's project. So here I'm going to add my screen. Yeah, so please grab a drink or something and grab some milk chocolate, and let's start. So yeah, okay. So to give you an idea, what DevSecOps is. So DevSecOps is a way to secure the software development lifecycle without slowing down developers and preventing them from making high impact changes. So DevOps' goal, according to the Cloud Native Compute Foundation, is to enable developers to ship high impact changes frequently. And if you're going to define DevSecOps, it's exactly to this as well with security, is to secure the software development lifecycle and the products we're shipping without impeding or like slowing down developers. So what we're going to do now is, when most people think of DevSecOps, they immediately jump to static security analysis tools and dynamic security analysis tools and adding a lot of these tools in your CI/CD pipeline. But like what they soon discover quickly after they add these tools is they get a lot of false positives. They get a lot of noise and results, and then they have to sift through them. And this is something we think agents can help with. So if we're going to draft like a software, like a pipeline where you add these tools. So let me show you example, like, because this is like a DevOps or infrastructure focused event. So we'll focus on reviewing Terraform code. So we have some Terraform code that is being pushed to a repository, but then we want to scan it. So what we'll do is we want to run a static security analysis tool to scan this Terraform code and output misconfigurations like or detect stuff. And to do that, we're going to use Trivy to scan the misconfigurations. But then, so here you get the code, goes into Trivy, and then Trivy would output a lot of noise plus some real results. And what we're going to do is we're going to use an agent, aka Stakpak, to filter through these results. So if you've been to the latest, like the other 6 Ship Its, you would know that we use Stakpak interactively in the terminal, like this, like just opening a new Stakpak session and do everything interactively. But since now we're going to run like this whole flow inside a CI/CD pipeline, GitHub Actions, we're going to run Stakpak asynchronously for the first time. So instead of having to wait for the response and like have a human guide it, we're just going to run it asynchronously in the background. So whenever we push Terraform code to our GitHub repository, the code will trigger a CI/CD pipeline, GitHub action, that would scan the code with like the Terraform code with Trivy, output a lot of results, and then Stakpak is going to filter these results to throw away the noise and highlight the actual stuff we need to do. And if you have time, we'd actually develop the pipeline further to create a PR comment or something to make this work, like to add, for example, like to add suggestions on or code reviews on these comments that take security in consideration when you're making Terraform changes. Yeah, so if you have any questions about this project, just like tell me, and Noor is going to read it out loud. Like just type it down, and Noor is going to read it out loud. Okay, so to give you an idea about the project, so Stakpak agent is open source, but let me find the repository here. to show you the project we're working with today. So it's a super simple Terraform project that has some intentional vulnerabilities inside. It's very simple setup. So this is just like a Terraform code to set up a tail-scale VPN server. And the repository is empty. We didn't configure any secrets. We didn't do anything. We're going to do everything from scratch with Stakpak. So first thing first, we need to configure the pipeline that's going to trigger the Trivy scan whenever we push some code or Terraform code here. Or we can do it whenever like anything changes, or we can just do it anyway, scanning anyway. So we're going to use Stakpak in like regular terminal interactive mode to configure this GitHub actions. But then we're going to run Stakpak inside the GitHub action asynchronously to review the results. So here, so first thing first is we can ask Stakpak to create a GitHub action that can be triggered manually or on PRs or push to main and scan my Terraform with Trivy. Okay. So first, Stakpak is exploring the local project and creating a GitHub action. So here we see like it creates like calls the generic code tool, and my formatting is broken because I'm too zoomed in. So yeah, it calls the generic code tool, which is a tool optimized. You can think of this as a sub agent that is optimized in generating infrastructure configurations, and gave it some steps like 3 triggers: manual trigger with workflow dispatch, pull request to any branch, or a push to the main branch. Uses Trivy to scan the Terraform code file, uploads the results to GitHub security tab. Interesting. I didn't know that this is possible. Fail the workflow if higher critical vulnerabilities are found. Include proper permissions for security events. Use latest stable versions of actions. Add jobs to come. Interesting. So yeah, it's a comprehensive CI workflow that's even, so the prompt is beyond what I imagined initially, but like, let's see if this would actually work. Please let me know anytime you can't see my screen sharing. Stack packing. Because this is a sub agent, it's going to take a while. It looks up the documentation, tries to write code, and then tries to verify that the stuff it generates are actually valid and keeps iterating to get it right. Because there's no point like eating away our main session context when generating configurations. I think the agent can still edit the configurations afterwards, but most of the heavy lifting is done in this sub agent. Please let us know if you have any questions about DevSecOps or what we're doing. Okay, so this is the GitHub action. Cool. So what Stakpak did is it created this setup. So the workflow triggers a manual dispatch, PRs push to main, scans stuff with Trivy, SARIF upload results appear in GitHub security tab. I have no idea what this is. Like I'm not aware of this standard. What is SARIF? So GitHub SARIF. I worked as a security engineer for a while, but like I'm not familiar with it. So display results from third-party static analysis tools in our repository on GitHub. You need your results stored in a SARIF file. Okay, so this is a specific format that GitHub understands to be able to display this. Interesting. That's very cool. We're going to check out how it did that. PR comments, automatic summary with vulnerability counts, failure conditions, fails with high critical vulnerabilities, proper permissions, security events, PR comments, etc. For the workflow. Scan all severity levels, but only fails on high and critical. Clean up PR comments, emojis, links to detailed security tab results, and those edge cases. Missing SARIF files. Want to test it? Trigger money. Okay. Okay. So yeah, let's see here. Okay. Let's open this up with a file editor. So here are the 3 triggers, the permissions we need. The Trivy standing step. So check out the code, run the Trivy action with exit code 1. We will not need this when we're running the agent to filter out the results. But here it uploads this with the results and generate a scan summary for the PR comment and create a PR comment. Interesting. Yeah, we're going to check that out now. So yeah, so here, well.
George, we have a question.
Yes.
So Mustafa is asking if DevSecOps is a job or is it a way of doing DevOps?
Yeah, so same, like this is a very controversial question. So it's the same thing as DevOps engineers. It's a way of doing security without blocking developers. But again, yeah, at some point I had the title DevSecOps engineer. So some people use it as a job. So yeah, I'm pushing the workflow. Oh. Pushed. Test it. And now I'm going to ask Stakpak to test it. So one thing I did out of band is I already had like the GitHub action CLI tool, and it's going to use it to trigger the workflow and check the logs instead of like going back and forth and just like copy pasting the output of the GitHub action. So here it ran the job, and you can see like it's waiting for it to be done. We can see that here in the actions tab. Yeah, see here. So Trivy, yeah, it's running the pipeline, the Trivy Terraform security scan pipeline. It's getting the run ID. Yeah, the run failed, but like Stakpak's now going to debug it. Checking the runs log. I didn't know how powerful the GitHub CLI was until I used Stakpak, because I had no idea how to use this to debug GitHub actions. So why is it failing? Okay, the logs, the workflow is running, but got cut off. Let me check the full logs to see. Perfect, the workflow is working as designed. Found 3 critical vulnerabilities in your Terraform code and failed the build. Okay, because we set it up to fail if it found critical issues. So that's what happened. So security scan failed, found 3 critical vulnerabilities and 0 high severity vulnerabilities. Please review the findings in the security tab and address the issue before. Amazing. So it's working. So it failed because it worked. Interesting. Yeah. So now it's checking, I think, what is it doing? So let me check the issues Trivy found. Okay, so no, there's nothing here. Interesting. Code scanning. Yeah, I think these are the results we found. So yeah, that's super cool. I didn't know that you can have this deep kind of integration between these tools and GitHub Actions. Yeah, so here, this is the result from Trivy. Yeah, so basically we found 3 issues here. A security group rule should not allow unrestricted access to any IP address. A security group should not allow unrestricted ingress to SSH and RDP from any IP address. AWS instance should activate session tokens for instance metadata service. Interesting. So these are the 3 findings. And with this like SARIF integration that I just learned about, you can actually like add this stuff in the security tab, and they would look really nice because here it's actually like connected to a specific part of the code. So you can actually see this. I really love this. I didn't know GitHub can do that, but like this is super cool. Okay. Yeah. So it seems like it's working. But like, let's test it. So let's test by making code changes. So for example, remember when it when it said that we shouldn't allow ingress access. So let's make some changes here. To main. Okay, yeah. So for example, like it allows SSH access and stuff to other ports. And where's the RDP port? I want to change, like fix one of the issues, and then security group rule allows egress to any IP address. Where's this part? Yeah, so for example, let's assume I have like I'm whitelisting the SSH address, which is not usually a good idea because I have to change them all the time. But yeah, let's try to do that. So 10, yeah, add like dummy values. Create a PR.
And George, we have some questions.
Yes. Just give me a second. We'll add main. Fix security issue. What was it? Like, did it have a code that we can add? Yeah, we can use this code. What did I call? Yeah, fix English SG. Why can't I push it? Oh my god, I forgot to switch to the branch. Okay, I made a mistake. Okay, let's take some of the questions and then go back to that again. Yeah.
Okay, Mustafa is asking if those reports are coming from GitHub or Stakpak
Those what?
reports.
Yeah, so this is from our pipeline. So our pipeline here, it uploaded some of the results actually to GitHub Security Lab. So here you see like Trivy ran here. It downloaded the rules and then scanned the code. And then in this GitHub action, upload SARIF, it uploaded the results from Trivy to GitHub Actions. So here it detected the Trivy results SARIF file. And because GitHub Actions has like, or GitHub has an integration, you can actually like make the results from the CI pipeline show up here. This is something I didn't know before trying this now, which is super cool. So these results are from the pipeline we created, not from GitHub.
Okay, the second question is Henry is asking, how does this compare to using Cloud Code with MCP?
1 second. Yeah, so how did this compare to using Cloud Code with MCP? Yeah, so we built like specialized code generation pipelines. So for example, when you're generating GitHub Actions and Terraform code, you get much more accurate results from Stakpak compared to Cloud Code, for example. And throughout the last couple of shipments, we went through a lot of things that differentiate Stakpak from like existing coding assistants. Is that it built specifically for operations. So for example, it redacts your secrets, so it knows how to handle secrets without leaking them to the LLM. And like it can substitute the secrets with placeholders and then compare the placeholder, write the placeholder to create the secret. So it can read, compare, and write secrets without seeing the actual secret value. One of the things it can do. Something we tried last time when we're trying to load test applications, it can run asynchronous tasks. So Stakpak can spawn a task in the background to port forward or monitor your metrics, while in the foreground it's performing a load test. So you would see like Stakpak is built specifically for operations task, and you would see this like if I open my like statistics dashboards on my Stakpak usage over the past month, for example, you would see like the distribution of the different tools Stakpak calls is pretty different from a generic coding agent. So here you would see it spends most of its time exploring code bases, reading your infrastructure code, running bash scripts, reading docs, and the least thing it does is actually actual coding. So we optimized the MCP tools to be security hardened for operations, to work more, allow you to do more stuff with running bash scripts like background tasks and synchronizing. Like you can actually get streamed tool result output when you're running commands. Because if you're building a Docker file, don't want to wait half an hour to see that something like the progress of the build. But if you do this with Stakpak, because of the MCP tools, you would be able to stream the results back. So you see the progress as it's going. And that we did that because like most of the operations tasks are long running. And like all these tools are available as open source. So if you go to the Stakpak repository, you would see, okay, I think I lost the repository again. So if you go to the Stakpak repository, you would see these MCP tools. You can try them with any existing agent. So you can try them with Claude Code or Claude. But like some of the streaming stuff, we added more extensions on top of these tools to be able to, for example, like we use the notification API of MCP to be able to stream back the tool call output results. But you can still use these like security hardened tools with existing stuff by like deploying it in tool mode, like as an MCP server. So yeah, it's mostly optimized for operations work. It still uses Claude 4, so it has the same brain as Claude Code, but like just different tools. And I think the context representation is also different. So Stakpak can run up to like sessions 200 messages long. Of course, we wouldn't recommend that. Like we would recommend you break down the sessions into multiple sessions to get the most results. Because once LLMs go past, even if they have a context window, like Claude now supports 1 million token context window. But once you go beyond 40,000, 50,000 tokens, the performance starts degrading. But we run Stakpak for super long sessions. So for example, like I run Stakpak for a 200 long message session. And it still works fine because the internal context representation is pretty different from Claude Code. So it has to do with. So to sum it up, there are different tools, security 100 tools for operations. The tools work differently to cater for that you're running mostly bash scripts when doing DevOps work and you're researching cloud documentation, not just like the whole web. And at the same time, the context engineering of the agent itself is different to allow it to run for longer sessions, which is something you would need in infrastructure stuff. We also discussed in the other stupid sessions rulebooks, persistent memory and stuff like that. So in Stakpak, there are rulebooks which are centralized because you don't keep your rules in a specific repository. For example, like we have some official rulebooks about Dockerization, cost estimation, software upgrades, stuff like that. And these are shared, and you can create rulebooks and share them with your team without having to be connected to a specific repository. Because when you're working on DevOps or operations, you need these rules to work across repos, across projects, across machines. This is also a difference between when like using agents with operations tasks versus coding tasks. I hope that answered your question. Yeah. Okay, where were we? I completely forgot what I was going to do next. Yeah, I was creating PR and I messed it up and pushed stuff to main. So git check out b fix. Okay, ingress g git. So I wanted to test the PR workflow. To see how it works. Yeah, here's the change I made. So let's create a PR. Did it trigger the GitHub action? Yeah, it did. Okay, so I think now it should leave a comment as well on the PR, but let's check if that is working. So one thing we found that's actually better for infrastructure is when looking up random, like when doing web research. So there's a like an agent in Stakpak called search docs. That's researchers' official documentation. And we found out it actually works really better than doing random web search because it narrows down the search space and looks also only in high quality documentation. You can see that, for example, when looking up how to do Jenkins as code, you would find something like Perplexity, which is super cool, that does really good web research, returns false positives because of a random blog post where someone writes something random that is not quite entirely accurate, versus looking up the actual documentation. So here I think it didn't post a comment on the PR. Okay, so let's ask Stakpak to fix that. So I created a PR to test the comment feature, but it did not work. Please fix this. So it missed the stage here, comment PR with scan results. I think maybe this is because this can fail, right? Okay, so we might need to change that behavior. Yeah, so here, let me fix that. So Stakpak is saying that the problem is that when Trivy finds vulnerabilities and exits with code 1, the workflow fails and subsequent steps don't run. The PR comment steps needs to run even when the scan fails. So let me fix this by adjusting continuing error and an if condition. So here it's replacing this with continuing error set to true. Yeah. So I want to review this myself. Okay. Ooh. We accidentally exited. Okay, so let me do this myself. Okay, let's see if that re-triggers the pipeline. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's running here. Please let me know if you have any more questions about anything. I can't read the messages, but like Noor's going to read them out loud. So this is updates the tab, generating a scan summary for the PR and adding a comment. Cool. Let's go check the comment. Yeah, this is exciting. Here, so yeah, we get a nice table that it found 2 critical vulnerabilities and none high. Like, did my fix do anything? I think initially we found 3 results. I think I fixed one of them. Can we view the details on a specific branch in the security hub? I don't think we can. So no, I don't think we can. So this is the main. I fixed one of these. Yeah, but now at least we can see the comment. Cool. That's nice. Yeah, so now what we did so far is we created this GitHub action and the GitHub action. So let's merge this because I want the changes to be persisted. Yeah, so what we did so far is we created a GitHub action that would scan like our Terraform code with Trivy, then uploads the stuff to the GitHub security hub, then creates a PR with a comment with a nice table on the like about the findings. Yeah, and fail if the security results fail. So this is pretty cool. But then, yeah, this is how you build the pipeline. But as I said, like in realistic environments, when you have like much more Terraform, like hundreds of Terraform code or application code changes, you want to filter these down for developers or like the people maintaining them, because some of them are false positives. For example, if you have a bucket and this bucket should be public because it's serving assets, and this bucket, like you would get from every single static analysis tool that this bucket should be private, or consider making this bucket private. This is noisy because this bucket is actually serving assets. It has to be public by definition. So this is the sort of false positives you would get. So a cool use of agents is, or like LLMs here, is to be able to filter through these results to narrow things down to the things that are more relevant to our business. For example, like we can give it a prompt describing our business model, our compliance, the compliance frameworks we're worried about. Like we want to be PCI compliant, we're HIPAA compliant, we care about patient data, for example. So consider this when evaluating these results to filter them down, narrow them down to only the bits I should be focused on. But you can also take it and like a notch further. You can ask it to propose making a solution and create a PR to be able to do that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to embed the Stakpak agent in asynchronous mode in this pipeline to analyze the results we get from Trivy and tell us whether these are worth looking into, like sort of creating a risk rating based on specific criteria we specify. So we don't have to go through the results ourselves, or at least we would have to we'd get a rough idea of the things we should look into first, and then what's next, and so on. And it would be a cool demo because like you shouldn't use agents for everything. Like for static analysis tools are very reliable, but for risk detection and ranking, this is where agents can be valuable, especially if you have a lot of Terraform repositories and you need to compare and match stuff. So you're running this pipeline on this repository, but you also have another context on the cloud or other repositories, and you want to consider them when you're evaluating these results. Then the agent would be useful because it's a multi-step process and requires some iteration depending on the results you're getting and the code changes you made. So yeah, let's hear. So great, it works. And let me switch here to main. Oh. Okay. Yeah, so great, it works. Now add Stakpak agent using GitHub action. To evaluate Trivy findings and rank them by risk, which is impact and likelihood, to output the top 3. Yeah, just rank them by risk, impact, and by risk, I think is enough. So now add Stakpak agent using GitHub action to evaluate the reserves. Okay, yeah, let's try that out. So it's here, what happened here is Stakpak pulled in a rulebook because we mentioned Stakpak agent actions. So here it figured out we have a rulebook that has some information about this, and this rulebook happens to have a code sample or a snippet on how to use GitHub actions in one of my own private rulebooks. So it pulled that in to figure out how to use the GitHub action, and then it's going to update the GitHub action we have already to add this step. And let me show you. Yeah, so here it's creating a prompt to analyze the Trivy results. Okay, so this is nice, but we have actually, we just found a bug that you can actually add a multi-line prompt. So for now, until we fix this, let's ask it, okay, looks good, but make the prompt a single line in a text-only format. Yeah, until we fix this bug with the GitHub action. Cool. So that's the prompt. Analyze the Trivy security scan results in Trivy scan results.sarif and provide a risk assessment. For each vulnerability found, calculate the risk score, the impact and likelihood, scale 1 to 5 each. Rank vulnerabilities by risk score, highest first, provide actionable remediation recommendations. This is a part it added on its own. I didn't ask it to do that. Assess business impact and urgency, consider impact data exposure, system compromise, compliance violations, likelihood, exploitability, and so on. So these are very generic, but what I would do in your own business, DevSecOps is very specific to the business because we're not trying to block engineers. We're not trying to block features. We want to enable them to do that in a secure way. So this would change significantly within your organization. So if you're a health tech, I would optimize this to match our threat model and what we expect from the system and what we promise our customers or your customers. So the how you rank the findings would be different depending on your own context, and you have to customize this. Otherwise, you're not getting the benefit of ranking. This is just generic ranking. Yeah, so here what it says is, okay, it added the agent to calculate a risk score, 125, rank them by risk, high, medium, and low, provide actionable remediation steps, create a prioritization action plan, and save the analysis to trigger risk assessment on MD. Next steps, commit and push the updated workflow, set up a Stakpak API key, test the PR. Yeah, this is a painful part. Whenever you're doing anything with external APIs, you need an API key. So yeah, help me set up the Stakpak API key. So this is one of the interesting things here you can do with Stakpak. Let's create an API key. So GitHub ship it 7. It's checking the secrets I have in my repo. I don't have anything yet. Yeah. So what I can do is I could, for example, create a .env here. So let me nano.env. So what it does here, it generates a random password to add it here, but like we don't want to generate a random password. So you can find my API key in the local.env. So we support so far 210 rules. We're like the secret redaction we have actually uses the Git leaks rules, and the Git leaks rules they cover a wide variety of secrets. So we use the open source Git leaks rules, but we also added some other rules for stuff. Like for example, we added a Git leak rule for Git Anthropic because it was not already supported. As you can see here, like when Stakpak picks up the .env file, you can see the API key we added for Stakpak is redacted as a generic API key, and it gets a unique identifier. And Stakpak uses this placeholder or unique identifier to be able to use the secret in the different commands. So here, it read the file, it knows this identifier, the LLM never sees the secret. And whenever it sets the secret, so here GitHub action secret set, and it's setting the API key secret with the placeholder. So this is the same ID we get here, UY45FU, UY45FU. And it's using this placeholder to manipulate secrets because this is something you get to do a lot in operations, but you never do much when you're coding. So this is also another different. So when we implemented the file editing, the code generation, running commands, we added secret redaction support to be able to do this. So yeah. So I don't need this .env again. You can just forget about it. And now let me add the changes to the GitHub actions. Stakpak agent risk ranker. Oh, come on. Keep mistyping my passwords. We need to add a password manager to Stakpak because this is a pain. Yeah. So here, let's check the actions here. Okay. It failed. I don't know, like, did it fail because it found vulnerabilities, or did it fail because we broke the action? Unable to find version v1.0. Okay, so I think it used the wrong Stakpak. Oh, let's actually ask Stakpak to debug this. So I pushed the changes and it failed. Please fix it. You don't have to say please, but like I like trying to be nice to the LLM because it's helping me out. So it's checking the logs, like checking the GitHub action run. I think I know why it failed. It might be an issue with my rulebook. Yeah, it's an issue with my rulebook. I wrote the wrong action name. But yeah, let's see if we're going to figure it out on its own. So it says here, unable to find the version. But it's actually the action itself is wrong. Yeah, it's looking up. Yeah. So I know how to fix it, but like the goal of these ship-it sessions is to challenge the agent. Okay, it's screwed up. Like it's checking, like it checked the repository of the agent itself, not the action. That's why it failed. So here, what it did, it got the latest Stakpak agent action from the Stakpak agent repository, but this is not the case. So here, so yeah, let's fix it. So rename the action to Stakpak action because I got it wrong. Let me update the this for myself. Okay. Let's use the other version. No, keep the old version. I confused it big time. Yes, we got it right this time. Okay, but it made an anything error. Why did it read the file 2 times? That's all. Cool. Now let's push. Please let me know, like, so these, like, we play these ship it sessions by ear. So if you have any requests, you want to try something crazy, let's definitely do that. Like, we're stress testing the agent and learning about DevSecOps as we do that. Yeah, now it's running. Here, let's talk it. Setting up the job. Uploading the results to GitHub security tab. Analyzing Trivy results with Stakpak. So here, Stakpak is running in asynchronous mode. And if everything went well and the API key is working, then it should start running now. So this is the prompt. So yeah, this is the command. So Stakpak async, and it sets up a cap that you can run only 15 steps and passes through the prompt. Should be streaming stuff. So was the secret set? Yeah, the secret was set. Why is it taking so long? Yeah, so it's running, but it was not streaming for some reason. Yeah, so here is the result. So the final agent response was, so these are the steps the agent took asynchronously. So it read and analyzed the SARIF file, parsed the vulnerabilities to extract key information, calculating the risk score, ranking the vulnerabilities by risk score, categorize into high, medium, and low, provide actionable remediation steps, assess business impact and urgency, create priority action plan, and save stuff to Trivy risk assessment.md. So here what it found is like the critical risk score 20, or the like the top stuff, the top thing it ranked up is unrestricted access to egress rules, allows data exfiltration to any IP. Location security group main.tf, so this is the specific line where the issue is, and action needed immediately. And then the second highest stuff, highest thing it found with the risk score of 12 is, yeah, a credential theft risk via SSRF, because I think of the EC2 metadata stuff. Interesting. So fix the security group ingress, 30-minute effort, 95% risk reduction. Enable IAMD SV2, 15-minute effort, 80% risk reduction. Set up automated security scanning in your CI/CD pipeline. We already did that, so that's odd, weird. A weird recommendation. Yeah, it has no introspection at all. Like, it doesn't reflect. But yeah, review broader infrastructure for similar issues. document security baseline and monitoring procedures. The unrestricted egress rule is a serious data exfiltration risk. Any compromised instance can send data anywhere, provided fix needed. Want me to help you implement these fixes scanning? And then it shut down because like, yeah, we run it and that's it. It like concludes. Yeah, so the Stakpak is being, or like Claude is being too cheeky, mentioning this multiple times in case it like I didn't recognize it's a risk, and then it adds it. Yeah, so I think that's the basic pipeline we wanted to build. Like we can go fancy and allow Stakpak to write the comment or even track rate PRs. I think we have some time. We have 50 minutes, we have 30 minutes left. But like I would love to take some questions, see if you want to try something before going further. So how can I move this from stage? Yeah. So if you have any questions, just let us know. If you want to try something different, I would love to do that now. But yeah, that's a basic crash course to DevSecOps with LLM agents. So yeah, any questions about anything? Want us to try something? We still have some time left. Did you ever think about using agents this way in your CI/CD pipeline to filter through like GitHub actions or security static analysis findings? Like, yeah, I would love to answer stuff. Even if you have any questions about like the Stakpak architecture, we can dig through code, show you examples, talk about like design decisions or everything. Okay, so it seems we have people live, but no one's asking questions. So Noor, do you have any questions about DevSecOps?
I don't know, like I always see them fighting online about if it's a job or not. Security engineers and DevOps engineers.
Yeah. So I don't think it should be a job.
But like I never got it.
I mean,
like,
yeah.
What do
so
they
I don't
do?
think it should be a job. But like at some point, I had the title DevSecOps engineer, so I'm guilty for that. But yeah, that's the point. Like you work with developers on product security, work with infrastructure teams on platform security, and you enable them to build that. So I can tell you an example from my own full-time job doing this. So when I used to work as a DevSecOps engineer, I used to work a lot with the platform team to build security into the platform for developers. So whenever a developer wants to launch a new service, instead of creating their own Docker file, we'll give them a hardened like base Docker image. So then they can add like the little delta, or like the minimal changes they need to do on top of these minimal images. So instead of giving them like letting them choose any image, we built an Alpine hardened image with the technology framework they used, and then we give them this base image to add their application to it, and we even gave them a Docker file template so they can use. So this made it much easier to launch new services, which is the easy path, but it also made it much more secure because instead of them having to pick this stuff, they just like pick the easiest option, which is the secure option. So I used to work a lot with the platform team to provide similar self-service options to the developers so they can do the secure thing by default. So you have to know a bit about cloud security. You have to know a bit about like how developers work and building software. And you have to be good to the platform team because they help you get a lot of things done. Because if you try to convince developers to follow specific procedures or like read a guide on how to do something securely, they wouldn't do it, at least not 90% of the time, compared to providing them with a platform or a self-service way or a CLI tool that would help them do this thing like easily. And the easy way is the secure way eventually. Yeah.
So your job was to support the platform engineers to help the developers make secure products?
Yes, exactly.
Like develop more securely?
Yes, exactly. So that's the job. The job of the platform engineers to make the developers' life easier, to be able to ship stuff faster. And the job of the security engineer in a DevSecOps role is to help the platform engineers provide these tools to secure the software development lifecycle for developers as well. So the main goal is to always ship big changes quickly. And yeah, you should allow them to still ship big changes quickly, but in a secure way instead of slowing things down. So if you're blocking a release, it's not DevSecOps.
Yeah, it should be more automated.
At least, yeah, in a way, like you should be able to help them. Yeah. So basically, for example, like when you add static analysis tools on their like dependencies or their source code, and they get like 20 or like 100 vulnerabilities because you're trying to scan the Docker images they have, this is blocking developers because this is overwhelming. Like you fill their cognitive load too much, they wouldn't be able to like do anything. So we just ignore them and just ship anyway. So it's counterproductive. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think Ravi has a question. So Ravi is asking, Stakpak make inline edits? Yes, Stakpak can make edits. We didn't allow it to do edits in this code. But as you saw, like when we were using the interactive mode in the terminal, it was able to make edits to the configuration files. Is that what you mean, or do you mean something different by inline edits? I think it takes a while for messages to go, like for the stream to go to YouTube and the messages to come back.
Yeah, it takes 10 seconds. Yeah.
Yes. So there's a significant delay here.
Yeah, 10 seconds is a lot.
Yeah. So Ravi is saying, for example, if you have a commented code and you need that function or Terraform code module added, can it just uncomment it? Yes, it can. So what it does is does string replacement. So what it would do is would read the file, figure out the block with the comments, and then replace it with the block without the comments. This is the str_replace tool, which is just like search and replace strings. Okay, so we have another question. If we integrate Stakpak at enterprise, what risks and consideration does we need to be aware of, as Stakpak will need connectivity to the internet, Claude, and other tools? Yes, Stakpak by default uses Claude 4 and also some GPT models and some tasks. We have a completely self-hosted solution. So when we're deploying our enterprises, we declare, like we show you how we process the data, where the data is stored, and what models we're using. And there are a couple of options to host this on site. You can use your own providers. So if you have your own like Anthropic provider through Google Vertex or Amazon Bedrock, you can actually integrate with them and run Stakpak on your own infrastructure. But we're also working on like open source fine-tuned models to allow it to do everything offline, even if you don't have connection to Claude. And we're making we're making like a lot of progress there. It's not quite ready yet, but it's coming soon. For example, I can run Stakpak completely offline on my laptop on a 64 gigabyte machine. So far, it's not as performant as Claude, but yeah, it's getting there. Yeah, so please drop by Discord and tell us if you be interested in more DevSecOps content, because like as you see, like my eyes light up. Like I just love this stuff. And like we have like at least 4 or 5 more ideas on DevSecOps stuff you can do with agents. But yeah, only if you're interested in it. Ravi's asking if we can integrate Stakpak with RAG. Yes. So now there are a couple of extension points. So you can extend Stakpak by adding rulebooks, and these rulebooks can refer to like other sources. So you can have a GitHub repository with some standards or like templates, and then add the link of the GitHub repository to a rulebook, and then add as much markdown as you need in this rulebook. But you can also instruct it to fetch data from other parts. Like you can use the my CLI tool, for example, to fetch data from a bucket or something, because it knows really well how to use CLI tools. In that sense, like, so you can use existing tools as ways to do RAG. There is a web fetch tool that you can give it like links, and it would fetch the content of these links. So you can also add these in rulebooks and then add it to Stakpak. But these are all manual editing methods. So you just add the source you want, and Stakpak would use the source to do stuff. But there's also another way you can do RAG is across memories. So Stakpak can extract memories from existing sessions. So if you're doing something in a session, it can retain these memories long-term in the memories stuff, but these are not external resources. This is more like rehashing stuff Stakpak did already before in sessions, so you can remember them and not repeat them in the future. So if it explored your infrastructure account, it's aware of the architecture, how to access stuff. You can persist these in memory and then go back to them later instead of having to rediscover your infrastructure again every single time. So this is a kind of RAG, like memory RAG, but the first kind is like using like your own internal standard operating procedures kind of RAG. I think we're also have on the backlog allowing you to add third-party MCP servers. So if you have an MCP server that integrates with a provider or your existing RAG pipeline, it will be able to use that as a custom tool to get into like your existing data source. And that's what mostly MCP is really good at, like giving you access to external data sources. So please, like if you have specific use cases, just like if you share these stuff on Discord, it will help us prioritize the backlog. So if you find a lot of people interested in being able to add RAG by adding third-party MCP tools, we'd prioritize allowing you to configure MCP tools on startup in the Stakpak config file. Because we already support MCP, we just didn't enable it for like third-party MCP servers yet. Yeah, I think if we don't have any more questions, yeah, we can just like wrap it up. And yeah, please feel free to reach out on Discord. We have this ship it sessions every week. So we'd love to take your use cases into consideration. Like if you have a crazy idea, want to try with agents, we'd love to do that live. As you can see, like we really enjoy that really much. And yeah, thank you all for joining us today. Yeah, have a nice day. Bye. Thanks, Noor.
Thank you.